Les Miles used to keep us all amused with his quips, his humor, his zany and awkward ways at times, but also kept me busy analyzing, dissecting, reviewing his coaching blunders from the sideline. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your participation. Leave your comments below. Okay, our response to the news that was released this week that LSU is vacating 37 wins while Les Miles was the coach between 2012 and 2015 due to impermissible benefits and payments that were paid to a player's father. Let's take Les Miles' career back to the Oklahoma State days. So this was his first big break into Power 5 coaching, and he did a great job on the field. Oklahoma State was better than they had been since the mid-'80s, and Les Miles obviously set himself up for his big break, taking over for Nick Saban at LSU in 2005. But while at Oklahoma State, as reported by Sports Illustrated, some 8 years later, it was chaos in the locker room, on the town, on campus, off the field. While Les Miles was winning games at Oklahoma State, unlike anybody in 3 decades, it was a circus. And not a fun one, not a good one, maybe a fun one for some people at a particular time, because we're talking about paying athletes. We're talking about paying them exorbitant fees for small jobs performed. Also paying athletes, in addition to paying recruits. Also, there was sex for recruits. That was a benefit. How about that? Also, the drug abuse policy was violated a number of times. So for all of that, and if you go back to the Sports Illustrated series of stories, so they did a whole series on Les Miles' tenure at Oklahoma State back in, I believe, 2013. Look it up. I remember reading it at the time and just being shocked and amazed at the lunacy that went on at Oklahoma State, and that Les Miles had another prominent job in college football after overseeing that circus, and not just overseeing it and ignoring it or turning the other way. No, he initiated it, and it paid off on the field. Well, all that was penalized here was 1 year probation for Oklahoma State and a fine that, of course, that football program could take care of. Meanwhile, Les Miles is doing his thing at LSU, winning a national championship in 2007, getting back to the BCS championship game in 2011, and he paid no cost for this. Then at LSU, once he left and Ed Ogeron took over, then we started to learn about the way the LSU football program was being led during that time. Surprise, surprise. Now, really, the only thing that came out of that is what we just mentioned in regards to NCAA allegations, infractions that have been confirmed. Now, there was a whole lot more going on that we believe was going on based on Les Miles' track record, based on just the number of allegations and the number of people that cited issues and infractions, that really nothing came of those particular allegations that I'm aware of. But again, it was another circus with Les Miles at LSU. Successful on the field for the most part. But then once he started losing some games, 3 and 4 and 5 games a year, then he was ousted after 4 games in 2016. Okay, then he goes to Kansas. He was a disaster on the field, couldn't turn around the program, and then had to give up his job based on sexual harassment charges. So Les Miles has been a disaster off the field and in some cases on the field, but we're focusing on the leadership, lack thereof, and the misconduct off the field and what this really means. So the major reason this is a story this week is just not the vacated wins for 37 wins for all those LSU football players that put in the work, performed on the field. So they have their accomplishments taken away from them. I don't agree with that. There are better ways to deal with this. Les Miles should have been penalized when he was at LSU for what transpired at Oklahoma State. That did not happen. Oklahoma State took the hit, as well they should have, because there were other people involved they could have blown the whistle, could have done something about it, could have been more reputable, could have been more ethical. But Les Miles was in charge, and he was just allowed to go to a better job and make a lot of money and win a lot of games and have a long tenure that set him up nicely for retirement. He's now 70 years old. So again, the real reason this is being brought up this week, because most of the headlines have dealt with Les Miles' candidacy for the College Football Hall of Fame. So one of the most asinine rules in sports is that you have to have a 60% winning percentage to be eligible as a coach to the College Football Hall of Fame. Guidelines are good. Rules in this case are stupid, are asinine, are moronic. Rules in this case are for people that aren't smart enough, aren't able to look at the facts, look at the stats, look at the legacy, look at the context of all of it, and then determine if somebody has truly earned a place in the Hall of Fame. What Les Miles did at all three of those stops off the field should terminate his candidacy for the Hall of Fame. The 60% rule should be a guideline, should be a guardrail, a guideline to guide us. It should be a starting point. Howard Schnellenberger, I'm not going to go into it right now. I posted a video at the time of his death. He should be in the College Football Hall of Fame despite winning less than 60% of his games for a number of reasons that, again, since we're talking about Les Miles, I'm not going to go into. But it's obvious Howard Schnellenberger is a Hall of Famer. A coach could win 60% of his games over the course of 10 years and do nothing, accomplish nothing. 60%. You're going 7-5. Go 7-5 for a decade. I know that's 58%, but basically go 7-5 for a decade, and you go to the Hall of Fame. Be the founder, establisher, and first coach at two programs. Lift another program out of obscurity after they had 8 consecutive losing seasons, win national championships, lead said program to top 10 status, and again, start 2 programs, win 59% of your games, and be ousted from the Hall of Fame, eliminated from consideration to the Hall of Fame. Moronic. So as it comes to Les Miles, who cares if he now, with a 145-73 record, was eligible for the Hall of Fame at 66.5% winning percentage, 3-19 at Kansas, by the way. Those last 2 seasons were pretty horrid. Lance Leipold showed that Les Miles not as good of a coach as we thought, maybe many thought he was. So take off the 37 wins. They're not replaced with 37 losses. That always amused me as well, is that the wins are vacated, but the wins are not given to the team that was played. So it basically negates that the games were even played. So there were players out there giving blood, sweat, and tears, breaking bones, and the game does not count anymore. Moronic. So now Les Miles' career record is 108-73. That's a 59.7 winning percentage. So he's not eligible for the Hall of Fame. I don't know if the College Football Playoff Committee, the College Football Foundation, has had to deal with that in the past. I don't believe so, because this seems to be uncharted waters. Les Miles, borderline Hall of Fame coach based on the performance on the field. Take his conduct at Oklahoma State, for sure, LSU, yes, and Kansas. Put that into the equation. Les Miles is not a Hall of Fame football coach anyway. Forget your guideline. Who cares? It's moronic to begin with. Les Miles, you do not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Just be happy. Be thankful to whomever that you've got a ton of money in the bank and you can sit by the pool during retirement. All right, our thoughts here at the Voice of College Football. Of course, we've got our second edition of Disputed National Championships coming up on Friday night, June 23rd. at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, right here at the Voice of College Football. We hope to see you then.